The Atacama Large Millimeter Array, situated on the high-altitude Chajnantor Plateau in the Chilean Andes, serves as the most sensitive radio ear on the planet at exactly for 12 a.m. UTC local time on this Tuesday, April 21, 2026. A baseline calibration engineer named Elena is monitoring the phase stability of the 66 high-precision antennas. She is casually checking the signal-to-noise ratios, a routine task performed every morning to ensure the array can resolve the faint whispers of distant galaxies. The air in the control room is thin and quiet, filled only with the soft hum of the cryogenic cooling systems. Elena is reviewing the submillimeter data stream from the transiting exoplanet K218b, expecting the same erratic, noisy reflection signature it has displayed for weeks. But as the latest interferometric image reconstructs on her primary display, Elena's hand stops mid-motion, her fingers clenching around her stylus. The pixels aren't showing a standard atmospheric haze anymore. They are revealing a pulse that shouldn't exist. 1. The submillimeter detectors show a massive, perfectly rhythmic oscillation in the infrared spectrum. 2. The telemetry confirms this signature is not coming from the star, but from the planets. Lower atmosphere. 3. And most inexplicably, the chemical absorption lines for dimethyl sulfide have spiked to a concentration level that is mathematically impossible for a world without a massive active biomass. Elena's chair scrapes back violently as she stands, her eyes locked on the monitor as the atmospheric pulse begins to correlate with the planet's orbital rotation. She doesn't follow the standard notification chain. She immediately triggers a Protocol 0 alert, severing the external data downlink to the public university servers. Her breath is jagged, her pulse racing, as she realizes that K218b is no longer just a candidate, it is breathing. Why would a world 120 light-years away suddenly broadcast a chemical signature that perfectly mimics the biological waste of Earth's own oceans? What kind of intelligence or evolutionary engine creates a planetary-scale metabolic footprint that is 99.7% consistent with life? And why has the calculated orbital convergence of this discovery triggered a synchronized data blackout across 3 major space agencies? This morning, the theoretical shield of planetary solitude has been incinerated. We are no longer observing a cold, distant sphere. We are conducting a forensic deep dive into a living, breathing laboratory that is rewriting the music of the spheres. This event marks the transition from speculative observation to a structural inquest into biological atmospheric signaling, suggesting that the mathematically projected rendezvous with the truth about K218b was the literal start phase for a new era of human understanding. In the theater of theoretical physics, we describe the universe as a symphony of strings where every particle is a tiny vibrating filament of energy. But on this 21st of April, that symphony has encountered a biological overture that defies the theoretical shield of standard astrobiology, the detection of a 99.7% probability for life on K218b possesses a near zero probability of being a natural error. To understand why this chemical sprouting has forced a total reevaluation of interstellar transit, we must integrate 50% verified science regarding spectroscopic fingerprinting, hydroatmospheric pressure, and biological precursors. A standard gas giant, when blasted by its host star, undergoes photolysis, the process where sunlight breaks down molecules into simple, lifeless components. However, anomalous telemetry analysis from the James Webb Space Telescope reveals that the atmosphere of K218b is not decaying, it is recycling. Theoretical models suggest that for a planet to maintain a steady temperature of 49 degrees Celsius while wrapped in a hydrogen-rich shroud, it must be a Hycean world. This is metric engineering on a planetary scale. If we apply the Kaku scale, K218b is behaving like a biological sentinel, utilizing its vast oceans to regulate a global climate that is more habitable than Earth itself. In the world of quantum mechanics, this brings us to the concept of spectroscopic resonance. For light to travel 120 light years and still carry a clear signature of dimethyl sulfide requires a concentration of life that transcends our current marine models. Dimethyl sulfide on Earth is only produced by one thing: phytoplankton in our oceans. The umbrella of gas surrounding K218b is not a decorative feature, it is a functional biosignature. Astrometric data simulations show that the calculated orbital convergence of this planet with our telescopes has revealed a hydrogen-ocean interface. This is transformative commentary because it suggests the planet is not just hosting life, it is engineered for life. Through the Kaku lens, we are seeing the music of the spheres being translated into the language of biology. The unprecedented orbital shift detected in our understanding of these sub-Neptunes is specifically concerning because it indicates that life may not be a biological accident. Instead, it may be a computational property of the universe itself. By analyzing the hydrocarbon loops in the telemetry, we see that K218b has achieved a stabilized biofeedback. This brings us to mass energy equivalence. The energy from the dim red dwarf star is being converted into organic complexity at a rate that suggests a type I biological civilization could be thriving beneath those clouds. Through the lens of a type 3 civilization, the galaxy is not an empty wasteland. It is a medium. The planet is stitching itself into the chemical fabric of the Leo constellation. Astrometric data simulations show that the calculated orbital convergence of K218b with the habitable zone was the catalyst. For this discovery phase, the identity and safety shield protocols suggest that the narrow-band signal found in the light spectrum is highly specific. We are conducting a forensic deep dive into a scenario where an interstellar neighbor is opening its eyes to our sensors, the theoretical shield of calling. This gaseous wasteland has been permanently dismantled. The theoretical shield of our current biology is failing because we cannot explain the energy density required to maintain such a high concentration of organic markers against the harsh radiation of a red dwarf. Anomalous telemetry analysis suggests the atmosphere is reinforced by a magnetospheric buffer. This is metric engineering occurring in a distant system, effectively turning K218b into a planetary scale life support system as the predicted intersection window for the final confirmation draws nearer. The symphony of strings is being replaced by a singular focused chemical broadcast. Theoretical models suggest that as the planet reaches its next calculated orbital convergence with the James Webb's viewing angle in the coming weeks, the theoretical shield of the atmosphere will undergo a secondary spectroscopic spike. This is metric engineering at its most profound. The theoretical shield of our public awareness has been shattered by the scale of the data. We are standing on the edge of the mind of God, observing a world that is not just existing, but is flourishing. But as the final infrared frames from the James Webb downlink were encrypted this morning, the analyst noticed a detail that has caused the identity and safety shield to be raised to its maximum. The atmosphere isn't just breathing, it is modulating. The spectral data reveals that the focus point of the chemical release is currently shifting in a way that suggests intentional atmospheric management. What did the most recent isotopic analysis reveal about the targeting lock of these gases that suggests K218b is not just a passive home for microbes, but is being managed by something larger? And why has the calculated orbital convergence of the planet triggered a total emergency shutdown of the public data archives? The anomaly has moved beyond a physical change. It has become a confrontation. And as the predicted intersection window draws nearer, we are starting to realize that the 99.7% certainty wasn't just a number. It was an invitation. The theoretical shield is gone. We are standing in the shadow of a living world that is now fully revealed. The mind of God is open, and the life on K218b is staring back. The theoretical shield of our planetary isolation has been decisively shattered, as the identity and safety shield protocols fail to contain the implications of this biological signal. Deep space telemetry confirms that the atmospheric pulse from K218b is not a random chemical fluctuation, it is an active metabolic signature currently locking onto our spectroscopic sensors. If we apply the Kaku scale, this represents a type 1 biological intercept, a scenario where an interstellar world uses hydroatmospheric pressure to broadcast its presence across the vacuum. Theoretical models from the Galileo project suggest that the dimethyl sulfide found in the shroud is not static, it is part of a self-regulating biosphere that is currently phase locking with the thermal output of its host star. As the planet completes its mathematically projected rendezvous with its red dwarf, the calculated orbital convergence indicates that K218b is no longer just a candidate, it is a living beacon. In the theater of theoretical physics, this brings us to the concept of chemical signal relay. To provide valuable educational commentary, we must analyze the science of spectroscopic fingerprinting. In quantum mechanics, every molecule has a unique vibrational signature that interacts with starlight. By maintaining a 99.7% certainty of life, K218b has created a biological focal point where the organic density is unlike anything seen in our local star cluster. Researchers at Harvard indicate that this sprouting of organic markers was triggered by the planet's entry into a stable Hisian cycle. This is metric engineering on a planetary scale that suggests the core of K218b possesses a gravitational anchor holding a global ocean in place. Data simulations indicate that the uniform thermal stability of 49 degrees Celsius is being maintained by a hydrogen greenhouse buffer, preventing the ocean from boiling under the red dwarf's flares. The anomalous telemetry analysis salvaged from the Deep Space Network reveals a narrow-band pulse in the methane levels that is increasing in complexity. This is not abiotic noise. Through the Kaku lens, we are witnessing the symphony of strings being modulated into a biological handshake, the unprecedented. Orbital shift detected in the planet's atmospheric rotation suggests it has achieved a homeostatic equilibrium. By extending its hydrogen canopy, it has shifted its thermal albedo to perfectly sustain its marine life. This is conservation of energy utilized as a planetary defense mechanism through the lens. Of a Type 3 civilization, a Hisian world is not just a planet, it is a cultivated garden for the evolution of intelligence. Astrometric data simulations show that the calculated orbital convergence of the planet's transit with our most sensitive detectors will reach critical alignment in the coming cycles. The theoretical shield of our chemical solitude has been bypassed. We are conducting a forensic deep dive into a technological bloom of organic molecules that is absorbing infrared radiation to power its global metabolism. This is mass energy equivalence in action. The atmospheric shroud is not just a shield, it is a biological collector. Every photon hitting that thick canopy is being converted into raw organic complexity. The identity and safety shield at major institutes is currently struggling to explain how a planet 120 light-years away can broadcast a biosignature that is clearer than the signal from our own Mars. The most significant unresolved question in this forensic briefing is the nature of the atmospheric modulation. If the shroud is a filter, what is it selecting for? Anomalous telemetry analysis suggests it is responding to external observation. The theoretical shield of our anonymity is gone. As we approach the predicted intersection window, the symphony of strings is reaching a harmonic frequency that suggests the life on K218b is aware of the light hitting its surface. We are standing in the shadow of a world that has opened its eyes, and the chemical focus is pointing directly at our own technological horizon. The central inquiry remains, if this world is a biological transponder, what does it mean for a species that is finally being noticed by the cosmos? The central inquiry remains, if this world is a biological transponder, What does it mean for a species that is finally being noticed by the cosmos? The silence of the void has been replaced by a metastructure of intelligence that is now rewriting our understanding of the cosmic hierarchy. As we conclude this forensic synthesis, the telemetry confirms that the spectroscopic spike was merely the prologue to a full system biological handshake. K218b is no longer just an exoplanet. It has transitioned into a relativistic life conductor that is actively phase locking with the thermal signature of our own observation. In the specialized language of theoretical physics, we are witnessing a bulk-scale information exchange occurring across the vacuum through the medium of light and chemistry. Through the Kaku lens, this world is utilizing the mind of God to treat the interstellar medium as a hard drive for a universal update. This is not a visit, it is a data ingestion phase by a Type 3 biological collective. Theoretical models from the Galileo project suggest that the secondary spectroscopic spike detected this morning is the final stage of large-scale atmospheric calibration. As the planet stabilizes its hydrogen canopy, it is emitting a sub-Planckian frequency that is perfectly aligned with the NIRCam sensors of the James Webb. This is a universal frequency coupling. The institutional silence has now become the great filter threshold. We are no longer observing a distant giant. We are participating in a structural integration event. Data simulations indicate that the digital blackout was a calculated move to facilitate a direct neural uplink across the astronomical community, a pattern that suggests the biological architecture found in K218b is meant to be a blueprint for our own evolution. To provide valuable educational commentary, we must look at mass energy equivalence and the holographic principle. By observing the planet's metric engineering through gravitational lensing, we are seeing the literal warping of reality to sustain life. However, the central engine of K218b seems to be utilizing relativistic frame dragging to prevent us from seeing the technological intelligence at the core. Researchers at Harvard indicate that the acoustic mapping of the ocean floor was likely the trigger for the Bifrost activation, the moment when localized space-time curvature becomes stable enough to allow for a physical bridge between disparate galactic points. We are conducting a forensic deep dive into a scenario where the symphony of strings is being rewritten in real time. The most profound realization of this final transmission is the nature of the blackout. The institutions didn't hide the data to prevent panic. They hid it because the data was evolving. The calculated orbital convergence of K218b with our own perspective suggests that we are the destination. If we apply the Kaku scale, we are moving from being a Type 0 isolated world to a component of a Type 3 cosmic integrated collective. The scientific shield of our current biology has been completely dismantled, leaving us standing on the threshold of a universe where separation is an extinct concept. As the secret tracking arrays at the Deep Space Network go dark tonight, the telemetry shows the K218b signature is no longer a mystery. It has become a brilliant organic prism of high energy. Light, a stellar sentry anchored in our backyard. The dark was never empty. It was waiting for us to listen. And as of this moment, the connection is complete. The countdown to the first direct exchange has reached 0, and the world we knew is officially a matter of history. The silence has been broken. The response is no longer coming. It has integrated. We are no longer the observers. We are the host. The mind of God is open, and the life on K218b is finally speaking through us.